Good morning and welcome to some Civil War poetry. I am Vincent Hannum. This is my office coming to you live from Minneapolis, Minnesota, 7:31 in the morning. Now, why does this show start so early? That's a good question, considering I've only ever had, I think, 6 people online with me live at any given time, and that was when we first started a month ago. Well, I do have a day job, an office type job that does begin at 8. I also bought a dog recently. That sounds weird. I got a dog. I adopted a dog recently. So those things, it's like, well, I have to be up early anyways. Gotta let the dog out. So yeah. So I'm up. I try to get up. This morning I was up at 6:45. Um, recently, as you could tell, I've been getting up a little later than usual. 7:15. The latest I ever got up and made it to this chair for poetry reading was 7:20. Not a great, not a great way to start the day when you're rushing like that. But generally, I give myself about a half hour to get up, prep, take the dog out, this and that, and settle in to talk some Civil War, read some poetry. So that's why it's at 7:30, because it's just easy to fit in before my day of work starts. So with that, we have a couple of great poems today. One by John Greenleaf Whittier, a definite friend of the show. He was featured in our very first episode. Our Confederate poet of the day is W.S. Hawkins, whom I think we've also featured. You have to go back in the catalog and find out for me. One more bit of housekeeping. Just want to let you know that this is the last week of this iteration of some Civil War poetry. It's been a month now. I'm almost done with the book. So super excited. I will encourage you, however, to check out my other YouTube page called Mischief Tales. That is where this will probably live beyond this week. And I've got some plans in the can, some podcasty type things, more kind of want to go more formally into that route with some guest hosts and do some deeper dives into the literature aspect of the show. So, opening spiel. Thank you for listening. Poetry of the Civil War is just an anthology I happen to have on my shelf. It's divided into 2 parts, one the blue, one the gray, meaning Union and Confederate alignments. So I'll read a poem each morning from either side, do a little comparing and contrasting, and the hope is to glean a little bit about how folks at the time were feeling about the most traumatic thing they've ever gone through. In this iteration of the show, I'm doing that poetically, at least. So, yeah, we'll start off as we do every morning with the bio round. The bio round is where I read the bios of the poets before we get into their work. John Greenleaf Whittier lived from 1807 to 1892. Was born in Haverhill, Massachusetts. He received little in the way of formal education, yet made his literary debut at the age of 19. Whittier's first book, Legends of New England, was published in 1831. A dedicated abolitionist, he entered politics and promoted the cause through his editorship of a number of influential periodicals. Whittier turned from politics after the Civil War and dedicated himself completely to poetry. His fame increased greatly with the publication of Snowbound, 1866, a long narrative poem. In his time, Whittier was considered one of the great American poets, second only to Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. After his death, several states declared holidays on his birthday. 2 questions. Why do we know Longfellow, but we do not know Whittier? I don't know Whittier, so I'm just speaking for the common layperson here who happens to know who Longfellow is. And what are these states that have holidays dedicated to his birthday? And if those holidays still exist, because I think it'd be really cool if I lived in a state. It's like, oh, banks are closed. Why? It's John Greenleaf Whittier's birthday. Oh, yeah, I know him. He was second only to Longfellow. Wouldn't that be cool? I doubt Minnesota is one of those states, but who knows? Someone out there, let me know. Maybe leave it in the chat. We'll comment on it tomorrow. So this is his poem, Laus Deo, which I looked up means praise God. So Laus Deo. Over here. It is done. Clang of bell and roar of gun send the tidings up and down. How the belfries rock and reel, how the great guns peal on peal, fling the joy from town to town. Ring, O bells, every stroke exulting tells of the burial hour of crime. Loud and long they all may hear, ring for every listening ear of eternity and time. Let us kneel. God's own voice is in that peal, and this spot is holy ground. Lord, forgive us. What are we, that our eyes this glory see, that our ears have heard the sound? For the Lord on the whirlwind is abroad. In the earthquake he has spoken. He has smitten with his thunder the iron walls asunder, and the gates of brass are broken. Loud and long, lift the old exulting song. Sing with Miriam by the sea. He hath cast the mighty down. Horse and rider sink and drown. He hath triumphed gloriously. Did we dare, in our agony of prayer, ask for more than he has done? When was ever his right hand over any time or land stretched as now beneath the sun? How they pale, ancient myth and song and tale, in this wonder of our days, when the cruel rod of war blossoms white with righteous law, and the wrath of man is praise. Blotted out, all within and all about, shall a fresher life begin. Freer breathe the universe as it rolls its heavy curse on the dead and buried sin. It is done. In the circuit of the sun shall the sound thereof go forth. It shall bid the sad rejoice, it shall give the dumb a voice, it shall belt with joy the earth. Ring and swing, bells of joy, on morning's wing send the song of praise abroad. With a sound of broken chains, tell the nations that he reigns, who alone is Lord and God. John Greenleaf Whittier bringing the pulpit. He is going full church mode on us here, which I don't mind. I think, yeah. I mean, my first reading, I felt like I was reading one of those prayers from the Book of Prayers. Where it's like da 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 da. He is risen. Da 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 da. But it was fun. There was a lot of energy and oomph to it. Um, I have to wonder if this is now the end of the war. This book has done a great job of keeping poems rather chronologically. And there's so much exaltation, and it is done. Ring the bells, that I have to imagine the war is ending. So, at least on the northern side, that's a great thing, as told by John Greenleaf Whittier. So, let's see how our Confederate brethren are doing south of Mason-Dixon's line. Let me just get my place for tomorrow. Okay. So this is by a fella named W.S. Hawkins. And he lived from 1837 to 1865. Was born in Madison County, Alabama. A student at the outbreak of the war, he enlisted and quickly rose to the rank of colonel. In January 1864, Hawkins was captured and taken to Camp Chase in Ohio. Hawkins was released at the end of the war and died several months later. That's sad. His poem this morning is called Your Letter, Lady, Came Too Late. So already I am not filled with a lot of hope. Your letter, lady, came too late. For heaven had claimed its own. Ah, sudden change from prison rats unto the great white throne. And yet I think he would have stayed to live for his disdain, could he have read the careless words which you have sent in vain. So full of patience did he wait, through many a weary hour, that o'er his simple soldier faith not even death had power. And you, did others whisper low their homage in your ear, as though among their shadowy throng his spirit had appear? I would that you were by me now, to draw the sheet aside and see how pure the look he wore the moment when he died. The sorrow that you gave him had left its weary trace, as 'twere the shadow of the cross upon his pallid face. Her love, he said, could change for me the winter's cold to spring. Ah, trust a fickle maiden's love, thou art a bitter thing. For when these valleys bright in May once more with blossoms wave, the northern violets shall blow above his humble grave. Your dole of scanty words had been but one more pang to bear, for him who kissed unto the last your tress of golden hair. I did not put it where he said, for when the angels come I would not have them find the sign of falsehood in the tomb. I've seen your letter, and I know the wiles that you have wrought to win that noble heart of his, and gained it. Cruel thought! What lavish wealth men sometimes give for what is worthless all! What manly bosoms beat for them in folly's falsest thrall! You shall not pity him, for now his sorrow has an end. Yet would that you could stand with me beside my fallen friend, and I forgive you for his sake, as he, if it be given, may even be pleading grace for you before the court of heaven. Tonight the cold wind whistles by as I my vigil keep within the prison dead house where few mourners come to weep. A rude plank of coffin holds his form, yet death exalts his face, and I would rather see him thus than clasped in your embrace. Tonight your home may shine with lights and ring with merry song, and you be smiling as your soul had done no deadly wrong. Your hand so fair that none would think it penned these words of pain, your skin so white, would God your heart were half as free from stain. I'd rather be my comrade dead than you in life supreme, for yours the sinner's waking dread, and his the martyr's dream. Whom serve we in this life we serve in that which is to come? He chose his way, you yours. Let God pronounce the fitting doom. Wow. W.S. Hawkins is not happy with this lady. W.S. Hawkins is like, you devil woman. How dare you fill my friend with these wiles and keep him maybe strung along? Clearly his friend was living and fighting for this lady who caused him nothing but pain. I don't know. That's a really very interesting poem. Is it personal? Does Hawkins have some some deep mistrust of women? I don't know. But see, like that's the example of a poem I would love to read with somebody and like just for like 10 minutes just talk about it and pull in all these resources and yeah, that's fascinating. So tomorrow is Wednesday, and we will be reading a poem by Walt Whitman that is called Spirit Whose Work is Done. And we will be reading a poem called John Pegram, and that is by William Gordon McCabe. So there you go, folks. Poetry of the Civil War. We're getting towards the end of the war, of this show. Tensions are high on both sides, and we can't wait to see where it goes from here. So again, my name is Vincent Hannum. This is Some Civil War Poetry, and we'll see you tomorrow. bright and early.